In today's episode, we're exploring 5 of the most foolish animal encounters. From a city accountant who tried to pet a wild cougar like a house cat, to a zoo volunteer who thought safety protocols didn't apply to her special bond with animals. Let's begin with the first story where one man's complete misunderstanding of feline behavior cost him everything. It was October 12, 2016, and the rugged landscape of Rocky Mountain National Park stretched across the Colorado wilderness in all its autumn glory. Golden aspen leaves danced in the crisp mountain air while towering peaks cast long shadows across alpine meadows dotted with granite boulders. The popular Bear Lake Trail was busy with tourists enjoying the perfect fall weather, but one couple had ventured off the main path to explore a quieter section of the park where wildlife sightings were more common. Brad Mitchell, a 34-year-old accountant from Denver, had convinced his girlfriend Sarah to join him on this weekend hiking adventure despite her preference for city activities. Brad worked long hours at a downtown accounting firm, spending most of his days hunched over spreadsheets and tax documents. But he had recently developed an obsession with outdoor photography and wildlife encounters. His suburban upbringing had given him extensive experience with domestic animals, particularly cats, and his family had owned several throughout his childhood. Brad's relationship with animals had always been remarkably naive. He genuinely believed that his calm demeanor and gentle approach made him naturally gifted at connecting with any creature he encountered. His apartment housed 2 rescue cats that adored him, and he had successfully befriended numerous neighborhood strays over the years. This success with domestic felines had given Brad an inflated confidence in his ability to interact safely with all members of the cat family. Sarah had grown increasingly concerned about Brad's tendency to approach wild animals during their hiking trips. On previous outings, he had attempted to feed chipmunks by hand, approached elk at dangerously close distances, and once spent 20 minutes trying to coax a fox to come closer for photos. Each successful interaction reinforced Brad's belief that he possessed some special connection with wildlife that kept him safe from harm. That afternoon, the couple had been hiking for nearly 3 hours when they decided to rest on a scenic overlook that provided panoramic views of the surrounding peaks. Sarah was organizing their backpack when Brad suddenly grabbed her arm and pointed excitedly toward a rocky ledge approximately 50 yards away. Resting in the afternoon sun was a magnificent mountain cougar, its tawny coat blending perfectly with the granite surroundings. Mountain cougars, also known as pumas or mountain lions, are North America's second largest cat species, with adult males weighing between 115 and 220 pounds. These powerful predators are perfectly adapted for hunting in mountainous terrain, possessing incredible strength, speed, and agility that allows them to take down prey much larger than themselves. Cougars are solitary, territorial animals with razor-sharp retractable claws and powerful jaws capable of delivering a crushing bite to the neck or skull of their victims. While generally elusive and avoiding human contact, cougars become extremely aggressive when cornered or approached directly, often attacking before humans realize they've crossed into the danger zone. Sarah immediately recognized the danger and began backing away slowly while urging Brad to do the same. However, Brad was mesmerized by the beautiful animal and saw an unprecedented opportunity to interact with a wild cat using the same techniques that had worked so successfully with domestic felines. He had read online that cougars were generally shy and avoided human contact, which he interpreted as evidence that they were essentially large, timid house cats. Brad began approaching the cougar slowly, extending his hand in the same manner he used to greet unfamiliar domestic cats. He made soft kissing sounds and spoke in the gentle cooing voice that had never failed to attract neighborhood strays. Sarah's urgent whispers for him to stop were ignored as Brad became completely focused on what he believed would be an amazing wildlife encounter. The cougar's head lifted immediately as Brad approached, its amber eyes tracking his movement with predatory intensity. The big cat's ears swiveled forward and its muscles tensed as it assessed this unusual human behavior. Brad misinterpreted the cougar's alert posture as curiosity, rather than the warning signs of a predator preparing to defend itself. As Brad closed the distance to approximately 10 feet, the cougar's body language shifted dramatically. Its tail began twitching with agitation, and it crouched lower against the rocky ledge. These were clear warning signs that Brad's untrained eye failed to recognize, as the predator prepared to eliminate what it perceived as a direct threat. The 180-pound cougar launched itself from the rocky ledge with explosive power when Brad reached within striking distance. Its muscular frame collided with Brad's chest and drove him backward onto the rocky ground. The impact knocked the wind from Brad's lungs as the cougar's powerful jaws found purchase on his torso, its razor-sharp talons raking through his hiking clothes and into the flesh beneath. The cougar's massive jaws clamped down on Brad's throat with crushing force, its powerful canine teeth puncturing through skin and muscle to reach vital arteries. The big cat's bite force, exceeding 400 pounds per square inch, compressed Brad's windpipe and severed major blood vessels in his neck. Brad's hands instinctively reached up to push the cougar away, but his strength was no match for the powerful predator. The cougar's hind legs kicked violently against Brad's abdomen and chest, its claws opening deep gashes that immediately began bleeding profusely. Each powerful thrust of the cat's rear legs drove its claws deeper into Brad's torso, puncturing organs and causing massive internal trauma. The cougar's front paws maintained their grip on Brad's shoulders, holding him in position while its jaws worked to crush his throat. Within minutes, Brad's struggles grew weaker as massive blood loss and trauma overwhelmed his system. The cougar maintained its death grip until Brad's movement ceased completely, its predatory instincts ensuring the threat was eliminated. Sarah's screams echoed across the mountainside as she witnessed the brutal attack from her position 30 yards away. Park rangers and emergency responders arrived 20 minutes later, but Brad was already dead. The investigation revealed that Brad had violated every basic safety protocol for wildlife encounters in cougar habitat. The massive cat was tracked by wildlife officials and euthanized the following day, as park policy requires the destruction of any cougar that kills a human. Brad's death became a cautionary tale about the dangers of anthropomorphizing wild animals, but his fatal misunderstanding wasn't unique among those who underestimated nature's deadliest predators. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away in Florida, another overconfident individual was about to discover that athletic ability means nothing when you ignore the ocean's most efficient killers. It was July 4th, 2015, and New Smyrna Beach stretched along Florida's Atlantic coast under the brilliant summer sunshine, its white sands packed with thousands of people celebrating Independence Day. The warm ocean breeze carried the sounds of laughter, music, and crashing waves, while families set up colorful umbrellas and beach chairs for the holiday festivals. Red warning flags snapped in the wind along the shoreline, posted by lifeguards who had received reports of aggressive shark activity in the area following recent storms. Ashley Thompson, a 28-year-old competitive swimmer from Orlando, had driven to New Smyrna Beach specifically for her daily ocean training session. Despite the holiday crowds and posted warnings, Ashley maintained a rigorous swimming schedule that included regular ocean workouts, and she had built a modest Instagram following of 2,400 followers by documenting her fearless approach to open water swimming in challenging conditions. Ashley's background as a former college swimmer had given her tremendous confidence in aquatic environments. She had competed at the Division II level for 4 years, specializing in distance events that required exceptional endurance and mental toughness. After graduation, Ashley had transitioned to open water swimming, participating in several marathon swim events and building a reputation for tackling conditions that intimidated other swimmers. The 28-year-old had developed a dismissive attitude toward shark warnings, viewing them as media sensationalism designed to frighten tourists rather than legitimate safety concerns. Her extensive research into shark attack statistics had convinced her that the odds of an encounter were astronomically low, and she believed her swimming skills and ocean experience made her essentially immune to marine predator threats. That morning, Ashley had arrived at the beach to find lifeguards actively discouraging swimmers from entering the water due to recent shark sightings and murky conditions caused by the previous night's thunderstorms. Multiple beachgoers approached Ashley as she prepared her swimming gear, warning her about the red flags and sharing reports of a large bull shark that had been spotted hunting in the surf zone. Bull sharks are among the ocean's most dangerous predators, capable of thriving in both saltwater and freshwater environments. Adult bulls can reach lengths of 11 feet and weights exceeding 500 pounds, with powerful jaws filled with triangular serrated teeth designed for tearing flesh. These aggressive hunters are responsible for more unprovoked attacks on humans than any other shark species except great whites. Bull sharks are particularly dangerous in shallow, murky water, where their excellent senses give them significant advantages over human swimmers. Ashley dismissed the warnings with characteristic confidence, explaining to concerned beachgoers that sharks were more afraid of humans than humans should be of sharks. Despite the lifeguard's direct request for her to stay out of the water, Ashley entered the surf and began swimming toward the deeper water beyond the breakers. The bull shark had been hunting in the area for several hours, taking advantage of the reduced visibility caused by sediment stirred up by the previous night's storms. The massive predator, measuring nearly 10 feet in length and weighing over 400 pounds, had already made several unsuccessful hunting attempts in the murky conditions. Ashley had been swimming for approximately 15 minutes when she encountered the bull shark in water roughly 12 feet deep. The predator approached from below and behind, using the murky water as perfect camouflage for its attack. The bull shark's assault came without warning. The massive predator struck Ashley from below with explosive force, its powerful jaws clamping down on her left leg just above the knee. The shark's serrated teeth sliced through muscle and bone with devastating efficiency, while its crushing bite force shattered Ashley's femur instantly. The bull shark's natural hunting behavior involved powerful head shaking to disorient prey and cause maximum tissue damage. Ashley's leg was nearly severed by the shark's razor-sharp teeth as the predator shook her violently in the churning water. Following typical bull shark behavior, the predator released its grip after the initial devastating bite, but the damage was already catastrophic. Ashley's panic thrashing in the water only accelerated the massive blood loss from her severed arteries. The shark's initial attack had opened major blood vessels in her thigh, and her frantic movements pumped blood into the surrounding water at an alarming rate. The combination of severe trauma, shock, and rapid blood loss quickly overwhelmed her system. Blood poured from Ashley's catastrophic injuries, creating a crimson cloud in the water that further excited the bull shark's predatory instincts. Within minutes, Ashley's movements ceased as massive blood loss and shock proved fatal. Her body disappeared beneath the surface as the shark continued to investigate the area. Beachgoers who had been watching from the shore immediately called 911 when they saw the water turning red with blood. Coast Guard divers recovered Ashley's remains later that day. The investigation concluded that Ashley had ignored multiple safety warnings and entered the water despite official advisories against swimming. New Smyrna Beach remained closed to swimmers for a full week following the incident. Yet, even experienced wildlife enthusiasts weren't immune to fatal encounters. particularly when overconfidence led them to underestimate the dangers posed by seemingly familiar animals. Deep in the Tennessee mountains, a photographer was about to learn that positioning yourself between a mother bear and her cubs is never a good idea. It was June 8, 2017, and the ancient mountains of Great Smoky Mountains National Park rose majestically above the Tennessee landscape, their peaks shrouded in the characteristic mist that gave the range its name. The late spring afternoon was perfect for wildlife photography, with golden sunlight filtering through the dense canopy of oak, maple, and hickory trees. Cataract Falls Trail wound through pristine wilderness where black bears were commonly spotted during the warmer months. Derek Johnson, a 31-year-old amateur photographer from Nashville, had driven 3 hours to reach this remote section of the park, carrying professional camera equipment worth over $5,000. Derek worked as a graphic designer during the week but spent his weekends pursuing his passion for wildlife photography, building a modest Instagram following of 1,800 followers who appreciated his dedication to capturing authentic animal behavior. Derek's interest in bear photography had developed over the past 2 years, during which he had successfully photographed dozens of black bears throughout the southeastern United States. His online research had convinced him that black bears were generally docile creatures that posed minimal threat to humans who maintained respectful distances. Derek had been particularly excited about this trip because other photographers had reported a female black bear with 2 cubs frequenting the area. What Derek had failed to understand was that female bears with cubs are exponentially more dangerous than solitary bears, as their maternal instincts drive them to eliminate any perceived threat to their offspring with extreme aggression. His misinterpretation of online information had led him to seek out exactly the type of encounter that experienced wildlife photographers avoid at all costs. Black bears are North America's most common bear species, with adult females typically weighing between 200 and 300 pounds. Despite their smaller size compared to grizzlies, black bears possess incredible strength and can run up to 30 miles per hour through dense forest terrain. Female bears with cubs become extremely territorial and aggressive, viewing any human presence as a potential threat to their offspring. Mother bears will attack without warning to defend their young, using their powerful claws and crushing bite force to eliminate perceived dangers. Derek had been hiking for nearly 2 hours when he spotted the bear family in a small meadow approximately 100 yards from the main trail. The mother bear was foraging for berries while her 2 cubs played nearby, creating exactly the type of scene Derek had hoped to photograph. Instead of maintaining a safe distance and using his telephoto lens, Derek decided to position himself for closer shots. Derek's fatal mistake was his decision to circle around the meadow and position himself between the bear family and the forest edge, where they would naturally retreat if threatened. He believed his tactical positioning would keep the bears in the open meadow longer, allowing him to capture more dramatic photographs. The mother bear detected Derek's presence immediately, her exceptional sense of smell identifying the human scent long before she could see him. Her protective instincts activated instantly as she assessed the potential threat to her cubs, who were playing approximately 20 yards from Derek's chosen position. The mother bear's charge covered the distance between them in less than 5 seconds, giving Derek no time to retreat or seek shelter. The 250-pound female struck Derek's back with bone-crushing force, sending him sprawling face-first into the rocky ground while his expensive camera equipment scattered across the meadow. The bear's powerful claws raked across Derek's back and shoulders, opening deep gashes that immediately began bleeding profusely. The mother bear's protective fury drove her to continue the assault with methodical brutality, her jaws clamping down on Derek's neck with crushing force. Her bite pressure fractured vertebrae and severed major arteries. The mother bear's assault continued for several minutes, her protective rage ensuring that Derek posed no further danger to her offspring. Derek's struggles grew weaker as massive trauma and blood loss overwhelmed his system, his movement ceasing as the bear's brutal attack proved fatal. Other hikers discovered Derek's remains hours later and called park authorities. The mother bear and her cubs were tracked but left undisturbed, as wildlife officials determined she had been acting within normal protective behavioral patterns when defending her young. But even the most experienced animal handlers sometimes make fatal errors in judgment, particularly when overconfidence led them to ignore basic safety protocols. In Texas, a veterinary assistant's belief in her special bond with animals would prove tragically misguided. It was March 15, 2018, in the sprawling grounds of a private exotic animal sanctuary outside Austin, Texas, buzzed with the weekend activities of volunteers and staff members caring for rescued wildlife. The facility housed over 200 animals, including big cats, primates, and various species that had been confiscated from illegal owners or retired from entertainment industries. Michelle Davis, a 29-year-old veterinary assistant, had been volunteering at the sanctuary every weekend for over 2 years, building relationships with the animals and documenting her experiences for her 2,200 Instagram followers. Michelle's professional background with domestic animals had given her confidence around wildlife, but she had developed a dangerous tendency to anthropomorphize the sanctuary's residents. The 29-year-old had developed what she believed was a special bond with Caesar, a 150-pound adult male chimpanzee who had been retired from a research facility. Michelle often spent extra time near Caesar's enclosure, convinced that their connection transcended the normal barriers between humans and wild animals. Adult male chimpanzees are among the most dangerous animals in captivity, possessing the strength of 5 grown men combined with unpredictable temperaments that can shift from calm to violent without warning. Caesar weighed 150 pounds of pure muscle, with long arms capable of incredible reach and hands that could grip with crushing force. Chimpanzees have powerful jaws filled with sharp teeth, and they instinctively target the face, hands, and genitals during attacks. That afternoon, Michelle had noticed that Caesar's favorite toy had been left inside his enclosure after the morning cleaning routine. Sanctuary protocols required 2-person teams and protective equipment for any entry into primate enclosures. But Michelle decided to retrieve the toy quickly while other volunteers were busy elsewhere. Michelle's fatal mistake was her belief that her relationship with Caesar made safety protocols unnecessary. She had observed him playing with the toy countless times, and wanted to capture a close-up photo of their interaction for her social media content. Caesar appeared calm and friendly as Michelle entered his enclosure, approaching her with what seemed like playful curiosity. Michelle bent down to retrieve the toy, turning her back on the massive chimpanzee while focusing on her camera settings. Caesar's demeanor changed instantly, from apparent friendliness to explosive aggression. The chimpanzee's attack was swift and devastating. Caesar's powerful arms wrapped around Michelle's torso from behind, his crushing grip preventing any possibility of escape. His long fingers found purchase on Michelle's face and head, his incredible strength allowing him to control her movements completely. Caesar's teeth tore into Michelle's scalp and face with terrifying efficiency, ripping away chunks of flesh while his powerful hands simultaneously attacked her arms and hands. The chimpanzee's natural aggressive behaviors targeted multiple areas simultaneously, his teeth and hands working with methodical brutality to inflict maximum damage in minimal time. Michelle's screams alerted other volunteers, but the attack was over within seconds. Caesar's territorial instincts had been triggered, and his explosive assault had already caused catastrophic injuries. The massive chimpanzee stepped back from Michelle's motionless form, his aggressive behavior gradually subsiding as quickly as it had erupted. Staff members arrived with tranquilizer equipment, but Caesar had already returned to a calmer state. Michelle's injuries were catastrophic, and she died from massive trauma before paramedics could transport her to the hospital. The investigation revealed multiple safety protocol violations that had contributed to the tragedy. Caesar was relocated to a more secure facility with enhanced containment systems, and his aggressive behavior made him unsuitable for the sanctuary's educational programs. Michelle's death prompted comprehensive reviews of safety protocols at exotic animal facilities nationwide, and enhanced training programs for volunteers working with dangerous species. However, the most shocking example of human foolishness around dangerous animals occurred in Florida, where one man's complete disregard for nature's most efficient predators would cost him everything in front of his horrified girlfriend. It was August 22, 2014, and the vast wetlands of Everglades National Park stretched endlessly across the southern Florida landscape under the blazing summer sun. Ancient cypress trees draped with Spanish moss created a cathedral-like canopy over dark water channels, while the humid air buzzed with insects and echoed with the calls of countless bird species. The remote canal system near Flamingo was largely deserted except for occasional park rangers and the abundant wildlife that called this pristine wilderness home. Ryan Martinez, a 25-year-old personal trainer from Miami, had driven 2 hours to reach this secluded section of the park with his girlfriend Maria, seeking the perfect location for his latest social media challenge. Ryan had built the following of 3,600 Instagram followers by documenting increasingly extreme fitness challenges, and he had recently begun incorporating natural environments into his content to differentiate himself from gym-based fitness influencers. Ryan's athletic background had given him tremendous confidence in his physical abilities. He had been a competitive swimmer in high school and maintained exceptional cardiovascular fitness through his personal training career. His social media content focused on pushing physical limits in unusual locations, and he took pride in attempting challenges that other fitness influencers considered too dangerous or extreme. The 25-year-old had been planning this Everglades adventure for weeks, researching remote locations where he could film unique content without crowds of tourists. His latest idea involved what he called wild swimming challenges in natural bodies of water, believing his athletic training made him capable of handling any aquatic environment he might encounter. That afternoon, Ryan had identified a canal that appeared perfect for his purposes, deep enough for swimming but narrow enough to provide dramatic visuals for his camera. Despite clear warning signs posted throughout the area about alligator presence, Ryan dismissed the dangers as exaggerated, convinced that his speed and agility in the water would keep him safe from any lazy reptiles that might be present. American alligators are apex predators that have remained virtually unchanged for over 200 million years, perfectly adapted for their role as ambush hunters in aquatic environments. Adult males can reach lengths of 14 feet and weights exceeding 1,000 pounds, with jaw muscles capable of exerting over 3,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Alligators are deceptively fast both in water and on land, capable of explosive bursts of speed that can reach 30 miles per hour on land and up to 20 miles per hour in water over short distances. They're opportunistic predators that view any movement in their territory as either prey to be consumed or threats to be eliminated. Maria had been growing increasingly concerned about Ryan's escalating stunts, but her protests were dismissed as he prepared his camera equipment and explained his plan to jump into the canal for a swimming challenge. Ryan boasted that he could easily outswim any alligator if one happened to show up, comparing the reptiles to logs floating in the water. The massive alligator had been resting motionlessly in the murky water for over an hour, its 12-foot frame perfectly camouflaged among the cypress roots and fallen branches. The ancient predator's presence was completely undetectable to Ryan's untrained eyes, as he positioned himself at the canal's edge and activated his camera's recording function. Ryan's jump into the water triggered the alligator's predatory instincts instantly. The moment Ryan's body hit the surface, the massive reptile exploded into motion with devastating speed. The alligator's powerful tail propelled it through the water like a missile, covering the distance to Ryan in less than 2 seconds. The alligator's massive jaws clamped down on Ryan's torso with bone-crushing force, its 3,000 pounds of bite pressure instantly fracturing ribs and puncturing vital organs. Ryan's athletic training was useless against a predator that had perfected its hunting technique over millions of years of evolution. The alligator immediately began its signature death roll, spinning rapidly in the water while maintaining its crushing grip on Ryan's body. The violent rotation dislocated Ryan's limbs and caused massive internal trauma while simultaneously disorienting him and filling his lungs with water. After several intense rotations, the alligator dragged Ryan beneath the surface to complete the drowning process. Maria's screams echoed across the wetlands as she watched the massive alligator drag Ryan beneath the surface. The death roll had lasted only seconds, but the damage was already catastrophic. Ryan's struggles grew weaker as the combination of crushing bite force, drowning, and massive blood loss overwhelmed his system, while the alligator held him submerged. Within minutes, Ryan's movement ceased as the alligator's brutal attack proved fatal. The massive reptile remained motionless in the deeper section of the canal, guarding its kill beneath the dark water. Park rangers arrived within 30 minutes of Maria's 911 call, but the alligator remained aggressive and protective of its territory. Wildlife officials eventually captured the massive reptile and relocated it to a more remote area of the park, as it had been acting within normal predatory behavior patterns. Ryan's death prompted enhanced warning systems throughout the park and stricter enforcement of safety regulations regarding water activities. His family filed lawsuits against social media platforms, arguing that the pursuit of viral content had contributed to increasingly dangerous behavior among young influencers. Thanks for watching. Just when you think you've seen the most foolish decisions, we're just getting started. Click the next video for stories that'll show you why animal behavior can turn any wildlife encounter into a fatal mistake.